is going on YouTube? So today I wanted to make a video again in the spirit of the NFL offseason coming up. So yesterday I did my top 10 sleepers to watch at the NFL Draft Combine, or just top 10 players to watch, and today I wanted to do my top 10 free agents coming up. So these are my top 10 unrestricted free agents, not necessarily guys that I think are going to go to different teams, but just guys that their contracts are running out and guys that are making headlines right now. So start at number 10. And I've got Kirk Cousins. So to me, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback available in free agents this offseason. If you guys have been paying attention to NFL news, you saw that the contract talks between Kirk Cousins and the Redskins kind of fell through yesterday. Not to say that they won't re-sign Kirk Cousins. I'd still say that the Redskins are the favorite to, but for the time being, he is pretty much free to talk to whoever he wants to. Contract, or the doors to talk contracts with anyone are open. Anyway, move on to number 9, and I've got Doug Martin. So Doug Martin's a guy that had a pretty resurgent 2015, and I don't think he's gonna be able to command too much money. Obviously, if you guys have seen the last couple of years, running backs have been plentiful in free agents and have not been getting that much money. It's just not a position of value compared to where it was 10 years ago. So, in my opinion, though, he is still the best running back free agent available, and this is a draft that might not have the depth of running backs that a lot of teams hoped. It's a draft that has a lot of sleepers at running back, but not a whole lot of sure things outside of Ezekiel Elliott and Derrick Henry. And even that, a lot of people are grading out Derrick Henry as not even being an NFL starter. So you got to take that into account as well. So now I think that, like I said, Doug Martin saved his value an extreme amount this year. If he had played the way he was trending the last couple of years, he would not even be on this list. And I do think he will re-sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if I had to give a prediction for it. So move on to number 8. And I've got Malik Jackson. So Malik Jackson had a career year heading into this offseason. The Broncos have a lot of players to re-sign. Malik Jackson is not even the only Broncos linebacker on this list, Broncos defender. He's just now entering his prime. He's a guy that will command quite a bit of money this year. In my opinion, probably the second best defensive tackle available in this free agency. And like I said, I just don't know if the Broncos have the type of money right now to be able to sign everyone they need to, including him. So my number 7 free agent, I've got Jason Pierre-Paul. Now, Jason Pierre-Paul obviously ran into a little bit of trouble this past offseason, a weird offseason for him, kind of blew off his finger with the firework. And really, I think it's the same Jason Pierre-Paul you're going to be getting for the rest of his career. I think he's pretty much maxed out his potential. He's a guy that's still a very, very good defensive end, though. He's going to command quite a bit of money. He's a big name. I don't know if he's going to go back to the Giants. I don't really know what direction the Giants are trying to head in. And to me, the Giants they just need a different defensive direction. I think that building around Jason Pierre-Paul could help, but to me, something's got to be shaken up. That defense was awful this year. So move on to number 6. I've got Cordy Glenn, so the former Buffalo Bill, who I think will stay Buffalo Bill. And he's a guy that led a actually very good Buffalo Bills offensive line this year. Now, I think he will end up with the franchise tag with the Bills. I think he will end up staying there, but this is a guy that will command big money really wherever he goes. So move on to my number 5, and I've got the guy that had a really, really good comeback this year to me, and that's Eric Berry. So I think he came back better than ever from cancer. I think Eric Berry's story is just absolutely fantastic. And again, I think a guy that's going to end up going back to the Chiefs. If he doesn't, again, all of these guys are going to command big money, but I think this will be a very sought-after player in free agents. He is one of the best safeties in the NFL. So number 4, I've got the New York Jets, Muhammad Wilkerson. So the Jets have a very, very talented defensive line. This is a defensive line that has Sheldon Richardson, Leonard Williams, and obviously Muhammad Wilkerson. He is, in my opinion, still the best defensive lineman on that team. He's a guy that could be slapped with the franchise tag guy that will be commanding big money, a guy that is in the middle of his prime, and I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention to contract talks. Obviously, he hasn't been re-signed yet. Again, still a favorite to go back to the Jets, though. So at number 3, I've got Alshon Jeffrey. So I don't know if there's one player on here previous to Alshon Jeffrey that I wouldn't say is more likely, but is more needed by his team than with the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears do have Kevin White coming back next year, but this was a year that Jay Cutler had that was very unexpected. Don't know if it's going to be able to continue into the future, and he needs as many weapons as possible. Now, I think that Alshon Jeffrey is going to go back to the Bears, but if this guy ends up leaving, if he ends up leaving Chicago, this is a very, very thin wide receiver free agent class. I believe the second best wide receiver free agent, something like Marvin Jones, Kamar Aiken, somewhere in that realm. And like I said, if this guy ends up leaving, the contract talks with Chicago, doesn't end up going back to Chicago, this guy that's going to command maybe one of the top 3 highest contracts in free agents. So move on to number 2, and I've got Josh Norman. So Josh Norman's pretty sure thing to go back to Carolina in my mind. Obviously had a career year. He was the best cornerback in the NFL this year, in my opinion, and I don't think he's going to end up going anywhere besides Carolina. I think Carolina's going to try to retain their core, and especially on defense, he is a big part of that. So my number 1 player is the Super Bowl MVP, Von Miller. So I think Von Miller is almost a must for to go back to the Broncos. Obviously, he wants to go back to the team that drafted him, the team he just won the Super Bowl with, and the team he just won the Super Bowl MVP with. I don't think there's much of a chance that he leaves the Broncos. Now, in the slim case that he does, and not only do I think he doesn't want to leave the Broncos, I think the Broncos want him to leave even less. Obviously, he's going to command huge money. His stock could not be higher right now. He had a fantastic playoff run, and I don't think there's a chance that he hits the free agent market. All right, so that pretty much concludes my top 10 list. If I had to give the amount of players that I think on that list will hit the open free agent market, I'd say 2 at the most. That's the thing with NFL free agents now, outside of really quarterbacks and running backs, especially with bigger teams that are good, that have bigger players of their core, and the importance of the draft at this point. I just don't think that NFL free agents play as big of a part as they used to. Now, something else that I want to mention. Not 100% sure if Peyton Manning's coming back yet. I don't even know if he'd be top 10 on that list. I'll be honest, I still think Kirk Cousins is. I think Kirk Cousins at this point would be a more effective quarterback than Peyton Manning. Just look at their stats from last year. Now, I think that Peyton Manning would be a top 10 name on that list. I'd at least give him an honorable mention, but I think there's probably about a 75 to 80% chance he retires. Now, before I end this video, I did want to say that the Denver Broncos have already announced, I don't think they've really formally announced, but it's pretty much become a sure thing that they're going to be parting ways with Peyton Manning. If he does come back, it will not be with the Denver Broncos. Now, another player that's big on that list, well, not on that list, but another player that could be a big contract talk for this offseason is Brock Osweiler. Obviously, he plays a big role in the Broncos' future. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to move in the direction with him. I'd say I'm 90% sure about that, but I still think there's a chance that they would move in a separate direction, regardless if that's just signing another free agent quarterback, a guy like Sam Bradford or Kirk Cousins, or just end up drafting a quarterback. Now, like I said, I think that's a very slim chance that happens, but I still say if you're a big Broncos fan, keep your mind open to all possibilities. The Broncos will see quite a big shakeup this offseason. A lot of restructured contracts, a lot of new contracts, and a few new faces as well. So that's pretty much it. I thought it'd be an interesting video to do before the NBA and NHL seasons are over. I'm going to try to do a similar video for those sports. Obviously, MLB would be a little bit down the line. You still got a long season ahead. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, top 10 hardest positions to play in sports. So today I wanted to do another video kind of encompassing all sports, and I am doing the top 10 most valuable sports franchises around the world. So this obviously is probably the most factual list I've ever done.